Throughout human history, one thing has been a constant: crime. There are many types of crimes committed and many types of investigators who look into them. Criminals get very creative to stay ahead of the law. Find out crime doesn't pay. Join Jess Nasty as he dissects various crimes, mysteries, and disappearances.
Crime Maze.
Hello everybody! Welcome! I am ESTEY'S Crime Maze. That's right, that's the name of my channel. And boy, do you look beautiful, by the way, everyone. You really do. And if you stay with me, I've got an epic video for you because we're going to cover a super fascinating case. That's right, I'm going to talk about the Idaho4 with you, everyone. This is just such a fascinating and yet tragic, sad case, isn't it, everyone? Where 4 victims, again, Xana Cornudo, 20 years old, a beautiful university student going to Moscow, Idaho, right? She was stabbed to death in ungodly hours at about 4 in the morning. We're not sure if it's 2 in the morning it started, this atrocity, or 4 in the morning. But anyway, very late at night, everyone, on November 13th, I believe it was, 2022. Again, Xana Cornudo, unfortunately, had her life snuffed out way too early, all these students. She was only, I believe, 21 years old. No, 20, pardon me. Her boyfriend, Ethan Chapman, also 20 years old, stabbed to death, apparently. Again, ungodly hours of the night. Okay? And then you had the beautiful, vivacious, also Kaylee Gonzalez, 21 years old. She was stabbed to death, everyone, unalived, as YouTube like to say. And her best friend, her bestie, Madison Mogan, also 21 years old, stabbed to death, unalived, everyone. Yes. And of course, Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez, anybody who knows this case understands, they were like this, right? They had grown up since they were little girls. They shared everything together, apparently. So my heart goes out, of course, to the victims. You know, may their souls rest in peace. My heart and condolences go out, of course, to the family members. Although I'm very disappointed with Steve G and some of his comments. That's the father of Kaylee Gonzalez. But we'll save that for another video. Today, everyone, I want to tell you that I believe, and I've always said this, this is undoubtedly is a massive, massive cover-up. And I describe today, my friends, I call this the Idaho4 PSYOP. And you're going to hear why, everyone. I'm going to define to you what a PSYOP is. But make no mistake, my friends, I totally believe this was a gang-sanctioned hit, as I said in one of my last videos. I hope you'll check it out, everyone. Oh, by the way, before I forget, if you enjoy my videos, I can only hope that you'll think about subscribing, everybody. I hope you will. I hope you smash that like button. Helps get the videos out, the algorithm's going, apparently. Hit that bell icon also. You get to be notified for future videos, right? And feel free to leave me a comment, everyone. I read them. That helps with the algorithms as well. Now, that being said, everyone, as I was saying, this is a PSYOP, everyone. This is a huge cover-up. I truly believe that, everyone. Because, again, it followed the money. The university establishment, anybody with critical thinking skills should understand this, right? The university establishment with law enforcement, elements of them in Idaho, and the intelligence communities, some of the drug agencies, none of these people, everyone, they do not want you to know or strongly even suspect that this was a gang hit. And they certainly don't want you to know there was more than one killer involved, right, everyone? And it all goes back largely to the university, everyone, and some of the drug agencies and how they run operations, I believe, because, again, they can't have you think there was more than one killer because we know 95% of parents, they're not going to allow their students to go back to school, right, everyone? Other YouTubers have talked about this, and I think this needs to be discussed a lot more. It follow the money. Okay, everyone? And it's a goddamn shame. It's too damn bad because we got to make our voices heard to free Brian KOBERGER. So again, everyone, for those that are new to this case, just to let you know, this atrocity, these absolutely brutal, heinous murders, this bloody crime scene apparently, because apparently it was very bloody, and we're going to find out more in the trial. So be ready for that, everyone. But again, all 4 victims were stabbed to death. apparently. And this was November 13th, 2022. The trial, as we know, is coming up in August, I believe, okay? So stay tuned for that, everyone. And, of course, we've had many, many hearings, okay? And so who did they arrest? Well, we know they arrested Brian KOBERGER, this PhD criminology student, no less, right, everyone? I mean, it's fascinating, right? So, of course, the guilters, people that believe Brian KOBERGER for some reason did these stabbings by himself. Are you kidding me? But these guilters, you know, they always like to, a lot of them, they will say, oh, he was another Ted Bundy. And again, everybody, that's a lot of horseshit, excuse my language, right? He's the only thing he had in common with Ted Bundy, apparently, was they were both criminology students, right? Ted Bundy studied criminology. But Brian KOBERGER is no Ted Bundy, everyone. The guy's skinny. He couldn't stab 4 people to death. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. But again, guilters buy into that, my friends. They buy into the law enforcement's narrative. They buy into this PSYOP. Now, what is a PSYOP? Because this is very important to understand, I think, everybody. If we really want to understand the cover-up and what's going on, it's psychological operations, baby. And it also includes, you know, mainstream media with their disinformation and misinformation lies. So what is a PSYOP? A PSYOP is really any activity, and I've said this in my speeches, by the way, during COVID, but that's a whole other story. No, but a PSYOP is any activity that's practiced mainly by psychological methods with the aim of elucidating or evoking a planned psychological reaction in another person. Okay? Another way of saying it is, it's when you take selected information and indicators to an audience to affect your emotions, value systems at times, right? Objective reasoning, and I said it, belief systems. That's what a PSYOP is, everyone. And of course, a PSYOP we know can be used in confessions, right? To elucidate a confession. The military often conduct PSYOPs. And of course, you have strategic, operational, and tactical. But I believe, everyone, this is like a strategic PSYOP conducted by elements of law enforcement for this whole case on arresting Brian KOBERGER and trying to get him found guilty, everyone. That's all it is, my friends. It's a PSYOP. Brian KOBERGER, in my opinion, is completely innocent, everyone. He couldn't have done this crime, and he didn't do it. Okay? There's no way. And again, everyone, if you have any doubts whether Brian KOBERGER did this crime or not, just look at this ridiculous, convenient narrative by law enforcement, everyone. Here they find supposedly touched DNA on a button snap of a knife sheath, right? Supposedly, we're supposed to believe it belongs to Brian KOBERGER when the prosecution and the state have already been caught in a lot of lies, right? And they also did all this secrecy, and yet we're supposed to believe that, oh, it's Brian KOBERGER's DNA, number one. And that, no, the knife sheath wasn't planted or anything. I think it was planted. But anyway, so we're supposed to believe that. And as part of the convenient narrative, as said in one of my videos, everyone, is, of course, we know Brian KOBERGER had no identifiable connection. The prosecution had to admit this in so many words, everyone. But Brian KOBERGER, we know, has no identifiable connection to the victims, nor the residents, nor the family, and really even, not even really to the community, everyone, right? Because he just happens to be out of state. Isn't that convenient for law enforcement? They find this guy who, again, a PhD student from, not Moscow, Idaho, but they're in, what was it? I forget the university he went to. Leave me that in the comments, everyone. So, I just get so exasperated, everybody, because I hope more people are understanding and see this, that we gotta find Brian KOBERGER innocent, everyone. He didn't do this crime. And let's hold the real people accountable. And I believe, again, it was a gang-sanctioned hit. And it goes back to, I believe, you know, Xana's stepmother. Again, everyone, as I said in one of my videos, all 4 victims, all 3 female victims we know had parents that had direct ties to or went to prison or, you know, for dealing hardcore drugs. And this is the highest risk for victims, everyone. That's a fact. And none of these guilters want to talk about it or look at it. I mean, hello, right? So again, it doesn't point to a Brian KOBERGER doing this crime. These guilters, everyone, they don't even want to look at the possibility, and I believe it's very likely it was a gang-sanctioned hit. Xana's stepmother, for example, everyone, and other YouTubers have talked about it. She was most likely a snitch. She snitched on elements of some of the Aryan family members. And that's what it comes down to, everyone. And again, the university establishment, law enforcement, so they have to conduct this huge PSYOP cover-up, right? Again, giving you often selected information and indicators, through mainstream media to affect your emotions, value systems, and objective reasoning. Just, again, everyone, I would just ask you, please use objective reasoning. Do not be brainwashed with this PSYOP, because that's all it is, everyone. I believe they're totally covering up, trying to make you think Brian Koberger did this crime. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say today, everyone. We're going to do future videos on, of course, the Idaho4. We're going to talk about the surviving 2 roommates. This is, again, what makes this case so fascinating. One of the many reasons, everyone. You had 2 surviving roommates who apparently were unscathed. They weren't even touched. And yet, Bethany Funk, the surviving roommate, and Dylan Mortison, the other surviving roommate, right, at 1122 King Road, with the other 4 victims, unfortunately, that had their lives taken in this brutal way. But Dylan and Bethany, we know, they didn't even call 911 for about 8 hours, everyone. Think about that. In my opinion, that should be illegal, shouldn't it, everyone? These women knew what was happening. They heard sounds, apparently, and yet they didn't call 911 for 8 hours? You got to wonder, everyone, particularly Dylan Mortison. Was she in on this atrocity? Did she plan it? Did she know who did it? You got to wonder. Because Dylan Mortison, I believe Jay Embry's theory that she wasn't even in the house that night largely. She was at a hotel for most of that night and went to a bank. And the defense are going to show you that even the prosecution, everyone, the state, when they were first investigating the roommates, apparently they got surveillance with Dylan Mortison most likely going to a bank. Okay? Anyway, that's a whole for another video. We'll talk more about that. But again, everybody, this was a PSYOP. This whole thing is a PSYOP. It's a huge cover-up, I believe, everyone. Again, follow the money. The university does not want the public to know the truth, that it was more than one killer, and that it certainly was not done by Brian Koberger. Come on. And these are my opinions, but really the facts back it up, I believe, everyone, when you look at this case closely, right? And we're getting more and more truth, thankfully, on what the hell's going on here. But we got to be hyper-vigilant, and we can only hope that Ann Taylor and defense team continue to do a great job. I think the Judge Hippler, he's in on the PSYOP, everybody. I think he's bought and paid for, largely working with the state, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll see how the trial goes, what happens here, everyone. I'm going to be tuning in August. I hope you guys do as well. And for any future hearings, I hope you pay attention to them as well. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Again, I go by ESTEY'S Crime Maze here on YouTube, my YouTube family. I love you guys and gals out there. Thank you for fighting for justice, and let's get absolute justice for the victims and their families. And that means finding the real killers, the real murderers, the unalivers, okay, everyone? And again, it certainly wasn't Brian Koberger. This is a complete PSYOP, huge cover-up. I can't stress it enough, everyone. Let's get as much truth as we can, okay? And I think it was a gang-sanctioned hit. I truly believe that. Thank you, everyone. Got to go. Please subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Again, smash the like button. Leave me a comment, all that good stuff. Hit the bell icon, and you get notified for future videos. And ultimately, the videos come back to you guys and gals, okay? Thank you, everyone. Take care. It's Jason. Bye.